has given a very small but precise informations in his lecture of homeopathic philosophy. Friends, this subject of simple substance has remained a very important topic which needs more understanding to get the depth of homeopathy. Homeopathic prescribing and having a confidence in the homeopathic system of medicines is dependent on the way we accept the principles, the way we get a faith, or faith is generated about our system of the medicines. And faith has got great importance for the practice of homeopathic system of the medicines, because entire philosophy is based on the dynamic and supernatural powers. We have to start believing into the vital principle, something which is invisible. We have to start believing to all those phenomena which are inimical to the life, and yet they are invisible. And then we have to think about the things which are very minute, such a minute that how it can affect the medicines. The three aspects of learning all are based on the things which is invisible for us. And until you have the faith and confidence generated on basis of the analogy and on the basis of understanding and on the basis of the logical applied mind, rationality is very important for the practice of homeopathy. Friends, when I was going through the Dr. Kent's view, my thought got integrated. Why Dr. Kent had thinking on the simple substance, why he wanted to get deviated from the slight deviations from the Hahnemannian vital principle. The Hahnemann had ultimately accepted the theory of the vital principle, and it had made him controversial with this acceptance among his medical professions, acceptance of the vital principle. This is very important understanding that we have to keep in mind. So, if we want to have the clarity of the mind and the faith, it is necessary thing for the understanding of homeopathic philosophy. And then we have to think about the material, the body, the life which is constituted in different way. It has got the different understanding, and every system of medicines have their own concept about the life, own concept about the physiology, own concept about the anatomy, and we homeopaths also have our understanding for the life. And as we believe the vital principle to the basis of the life, we have to think about what is the substance that is there in the vital principle. And Dr. Kent wanted to explain and wanted to understand the substance that is held within the vital principle. And you may be aware that Dr. Kent was very much inspired by the Swedenborgian philosophy, where the vital and substantial informations are very informations. Some subtle natures of the energy, some subtle nature of the invisible things, it is very important for the Dr. Kent. And with this background, he was practicing medicines and he got influenced with the Hahnemannian way. This is very wonderful and very astonishing for us, that how Dr. Kent was inspired through I feel that only because of his background of the Swedenborgian philosophy, Dr. Kent got attracted towards the Hahnemannian concept of the homeopathy system of the medicines. Friends, what we talk about the simple substance, let us go into the depth about its chemistry, about its physiology, and what is physical structure. Substance are physical things that can be seen, touched or measured. This is the concept that we carry. And simple substance that cannot be reduced to smaller chemical parts. It cannot be reduced to the beyond the atom. Beyond the atom, it cannot be reduced to the chemical part. A homologous substance composed of the atom of a chemical element, the form of a chemical element existing in a free state. The simple substance, diamond, graphites and coal, for example, are composed of atom of the element carbon, but differ in their compositions of an atom of the element of the oxygen, but have different molecular structures there, property. Friends, this substance word, it has originated from the Latin word substantia, and which was translation of the Greek word essence. Substance, it means the essence, and in Latin to describe the essence of using the word essentia. In ancient philosophy, the substance is treated as a substrate. Substrate means the base, adhar, and it was the fire, it was the water and the things. That was the Herculean task. Different concepts about the substance was there, and still we are having the different. The first view is connected with the ontological understanding of substance as ultimate basis being, and the second point of view is an epistemological understanding of the concept, its capabilities and the need for scientific knowledge. There are the different concepts, different philosophers are there. Francis Bacon, Benedict Spongea, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz and John Locke and David Hume. They are the different philosophers, and they have came up with the different concept about the nature and of the substance. Causa sui unity and subject and object. Central category of metaphysics in philosophy, substance is identified as with the God and with nature and determined as the cause of itself. The main characteristics of a substance are thinking and stretch. This was predicted by the Benedicta. Then by analogy with the philosophy of Benedict Spinoza, substance considered in the light of the concept of René Descartes and the Levi. Atoms are simple beings who lose their stretch but receives attribute, aspirations and multiplicity. Analogy of experience. Immanuel Kant, the great philosopher, believed that the law under which any changes in the substance of event and the number stored in the nature remains the same can be attributed to the analogy of the experience. Then Arthur Spinoza, substance, David Hume, matter, affixes the coexistence property. And George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel defined substance as a integrated things, major steps to the development of the will. Substance is a key concept of ontology and metaphysics, which may be classified according to many substance or individual, and it has been grouped into the two types, the monist, the single, and the dualist, the two or more, and that is the two or more dualist. So two philosophy, the whole of the substance philosophy is divided into the two, monist and the dualist or pluralist. According to the monastic view, such as those of Stoic and Spinoza, there is one substance, pneuma or God, respectively. This mode of thinking sometimes associated with the idea of immanence. Only one thing, no two. Dualism sees the world as being composed of two fundamental substances. For example, the Cartesian substance dualism of mind and matter. Pluralism philosophy includes Plato's theory of form and form an Aristotle hylomorphic category. Ancient Greek philosophers, a substance that which is called a substance more strictly, primarily, and most of all is that which is neither said of a subject nor a subject of the individual man or the individual horse. Now this is the category of substance by the Aristotle. Used the term a secondary sense of for genera and species understood as hylomorphic form, primarily used with the regard to the category of the substance. And Plato and later Neoplatonism spoke of the objective reality of the things or its inner reality. And Spinoza argued that God is the only substance. And according to Spinoza, substance is one and indivisible. It cannot be divided, but has multiple modes, which we ordinarily call the natural world, together with the all individual in its immanent to God. Hence, the famous phrase "Dive Moso," God, or the Roman Catholic Church reconciled scholarly substance theory with the doctrine, with its doctrine. Descartes, by substance means that by which we can understand nothing else than an entity, which is in such a way that it needs no other entity in order to be the final. You cannot explain, go beyond that. Therefore, only God is the substance as ends perfection, most perfect being. Bare particles, particular. In substance theory, a bare particular of an object is the element without which the object would not exist. Now we are coming to the materialistic side, and here it says that it cannot exist without something there, substance which exists independent from its properties, even if it is physically impossible for the lack of property. It is bare because it is considered without its property, and particular because it is not abstract. Inherence. Another primitive concept in substance theory is the inherence of property within a substance. For example, in a sentence, apple is red. Substance theory says that red inheres in the, so red is the substance, inheres in the apple. Substance theory takes the meaning of an apple having the property of redness to be understood, and likewise that the property inherent in substance which is similar to but not identical with being part of which. So various schools of philosophy are there now. There are the materialistic school, there are the idealistic school, and there are the substantialistic schools. And that's why we have that variations. That's why we have the different concepts about it. Materialism says doctrine, facts of experience are all to be explained by reference to the reality, activity, and law of physical and the material substance. Materialism elements and their motions. Then capital is money. Capital is commodity by virtue of its value. It has acquired the occult ability to add value to it. It brings forth living offspring, or at the least lay golden eggs. Karl Marx philosophy is there. And this is the materialistic view. Idealism, that system of reflective thinking which would interpret and explain the whole universe, things and mind and their relations, and the realization of the system of ideas. It takes various forms as determined by the view of what the idea or ideal is and how we become aware of it. Idealism, a man cannot lay down the right of resisting them that asserts him by force to take away his life. This is the idealism. Thomas Hobbes. Substantialism. Now, the doctrine that substantialism, existence, or real being are the sources of underlying ground of all phenomena, mental and material, especially the doctrine which denies that the conception of material substance can be resolved into mere central force. The predominant thought of substantialism is that all things in nature which exist or can form the basis of a concept are really substantial entities, whether they are so-called principle or force of nature or the atom of corporeal body, even extending to the life and mental power of every sentient organism from the highest to the lowest. Hall experimentally established the fact that sound consists of, therefore, the substantial entity air or order. He argued, if sound can be proved to be a substance, there cannot be the shadow of scientific objections raised against substantial or enunciative nature of the life and the mental power. From this point of view, mind is the real in the existence and in the physical brain, which is regarded as tangible manifestation of the form and substance of its invisible counterpart. From nothing to nothing, from nothing, nothing comes. Every effects proceed from cause. Cause effects follows the cause in unbroken succession. No substantial effect can be produced upon any subject without an absolute substance of such kind of connecting the cause and the effect. This is very important understanding. Without cause, without effect, no effect is there. So essence and the substance, what we call the essence, we talk about the essence of the materia medica, our medicines. We talk about the essence of the life. We talk about the essence of the disease. So this is the essence. It is the things which is invisible. And this was the concept Dr. Kent had wanted to convey to us. Gravity, or that which property gravitation is a substance, since it acts upon the physical object of at a substance dimensions and cause substantial physical effect. Magnetism is a substance, since it passes through the imporous bodies, seizes upon and moves iron. Sound is a substance, since it is conveyed through space by air waves. It must be something substantial or it could not be conveyed. Light, heat, electricity, substance, they may be identical. It is absurd to call them the mode of motions or vibratory phenomena. These aspects are very important understanding to understand our homeopathic medicines, to how it works. That if you talk in those terms, you cannot explain our homeopathy. But when you start talking in the term of this substantial aspect, you will be able to understand the nature of the substance. Motion is a non-entity. The mere act of a thing is changing its position in a space. And motion is nothing before an object begins to move, and nothing after it has ceased to move. So motion is nothing. It is associated. Modern science teaches that light and heat are motions or vibrations of the ether. Physical science teaches us that ether is substantial, has measured it, has calculated its inertia coefficient and the kinetic energy, has pronounced it is the primary substance which matter as well as heat, light, electricity is composed. Physical science does not tell us who or what moves the ether and determines the rate of vibration. Substantial substance teaches us that life is a substance having the quality of real energy being. By its agency alone, organized living consciousness, thinking, willing entities are created, maintained and reproduced. Hence, life is intelligent, else it could not manifest this quality. Mind is a substance, since it acts to think or produce thought and the things. Mind therefore has the intelligence. Thought, the action, the mind may be called a mode of motion of mind acting upon the molecule of the brain. In analysis, life and mind are one and identical, since they have identical qualities and attributes and mind. Life is spirit is the primary cause of motion. Life is energy, and all energy is living energy. So, within every individual living creature, there exists a vital and mental organism, the invisible counterpart of the physical structure and the source of all vital and physiological phenomena. They constitute the living creature. Hahnemann has been assigned to the idealistic. Now the world is talking about him to be the most idealistic person. Idealistic, it is a satire, in the satirical term, that the thought of Dr. Hahnemann cannot be reached. In an attempt to be more definite, he has been called the vitalist, referring to the prominence given to the organon, to the doctrine of the life and the vital force. Hahnemann's position in regard to the deity, to life, mind, vital force, matter, potentizations and dynamizations, infinitesimal, and the emphasis upon the substantial character of these, to him great reality, do not fully agree with other classification other than the substantialism. Whatever thoughts are there of the Hahnemann, it comes under the substantialism. Hahnemann's constant appeal to experience, to fact of observations and experiment, and to the necessity in medicines accepted the fact of existence as he saw them. He was of the view of using the spirit and matter, force and motion and mind and body, health and disease in all their mutations and modifications, coexistence as fact of observation, consciousness and experience in a logical and practical manner. The inductive philosophy of Lord Bacon is shown in Hahnemann's writing. Dr. Hahnemann never mentioned or quoted Bacon in his writing, but the applications of Bacon principle to the studying natural phenomena can be found in Hahnemann in his development of the homeopathy. It is significant that Hahnemann, in selecting the name for his magnum opus, chose the very word organon used by Bacon and before him by Aristotle, whose philosophical method misrepresented and misapplied by the schoolsmen of the Middle Age. Bacon restored its true place with the improvement of his own. And Bacon's philosophy, way of explaining, way of thinking, in the subject of the medicines are observed in Hahnemannian philosophy. Hahnemann used the word immaterial vital principle. In the healthy condition of man, this is ninth aphorism, the spiritual vital principle, the dynamism that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the part of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operations as regard both sensation and function, so that our indwelling region-gifted mind can freely employ this living, healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. This is Dr. Hahnemann has mentioned in his Organon of Medicines in 9th volume. There must exist in the medicines a healing principle. The understanding has presentiment of the 7th section of the first edition of Organon of Medicine. Hahnemann perceived vital principle as immaterial. It is prior to harmony. Harmony is provided by the vital principle. In his work, Dr. Kent explains the Swedenborgian theory that energy is based on the fourth state of matter called the simple substance. This idea originated in the 18th century when all forms of energy were considered to have a subtle substance as their basis. This view was also reflected in the Newtonian philosophy that was permanent atoms responsible for all forms of the energy. Kant believed that fourth state of matter acted as a precursor to the form of energy or force. He could not conceive the matter as being for considered energy because he could not imagine that a force could come in force. Swedenborg taught that it is the fourth state of matter. There was no quality of simple substance but only quality, no quantity but only quality in degree of fineness. This is why Kantian homeopathic believes that there is no difference using one pill or 1,000 pills of a higher potency. You give one dose, one globus, two globus, doesn't matter when you use the homeopathic medicines. So Kant felt that fineness in the degree of the simple substance denotes the potency of the homeopathic medicines. And at the same time, he felt that simple substance has no quantity, so it is only the quality that matters. Hahnemann taught that phenomena of aggravations was not only linked with the potency but also with the number of the pills. But Dr. Kent says that it is the number of the pills is not so much important. All operations that is possible is due to the simple substance, and by its very universe it keeps in order. Everything is in the harmony and is kept so by the simple substance. So cooperation is harmony effect. We know that the cooperation, it is the harmony. So there must be the harmony, perfect harmony within the, and harmony is the life. Matter is subject to reduction and it can be continuously reduced until in the form of the simple substance, but it is not subject of restitution. No substance can be returned to its ultimate form after it has been reduced to the primitive form. The simple substance may coexist as simple complex or the simple compound or the complex. They never disturb harmony. They can do in any way. So there are many qualities of the simple substance. There are the formative intelligence. They have the capacity to overrule intelligently. If you examine the very simplest form of living organism, we can understand it in a better way. Human body also has the degree of life substance existing in degrees suitable of all its utility. The innermost degree, the outermost degree, and the continuity which interconnect them. Everything in the universe has its aura or the atmosphere. Every star and planet, the sun and atmosphere, every human being has an atmosphere or the aura. This aura is present in all elements. The law of chemistry by analysis may be revealed to man that he can detect all elements because they conduct themselves uniformly. Simple substance gives to everything its own type of the different distinction natures. So all disease causes are in simple substance, that is Dr. Kent has done. We potentize our medicines in order to arrive at their simple substance and nature and quality of its remedy itself. So this is the concept why we are potentizing the medicines. We see that all things made by man had decay and it can be influx of the energy is there. So with these things, we see that all things made by man had decay and fall to pieces in time. But look at the things perpetuated from influx. Look at their order and harmony from the time to eternity, working by the same plane in the same order. So this is the aspect of the simple substance that we have been trying to understand. And let us have more thoughts on it so that we can have a better understanding of the about the homeopathy. Only the confidence is more important, and only you start thinking homeopathically. When you start thinking in a way to remain, you can stay as a homeopath principle. So friends, with these words, I thank you all for my presentations. If you have any questions, you can write to me on my WhatsApp, or you can, because time is not enough for the discussions now, because only 4 minutes is left. So